let's move on to the coin company grift. Now, here's the thing. There's a number of different coin companies that operate. It's confusing because some of them have got different names, but they're owned by the same people, right? And what I don't want to do is kind of go into, oh, this company does this, that company does that, and then like make a mistake and get it wrong or something like that. So what I'm going to do is this. We're going to create today our very own coin company, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a brand new coin company. Okay. What fonts have we got here? We're going to be called. Okay. No, it's not Chud Coin. No. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it the name so it sounds like a company that would sell coins, right? So we're going to be called. Wait a sec. Westminster Portfolio Coins. Okay. Now, the reason that this name is important, okay, is because these companies, and I'll list a few, you've got Coin Portfolio Management, Westminster, Hattons of London, Harrington and Byrne, okay. These companies will call themselves things, and a lot of this you need to bear in mind, okay. A lot of this is boomer bait. So they will call themselves things that they know that boomers are going to be like, ooh, Westminster Portfolio Coins, how very, very nice, right? So they call themselves things that the boomers are like, ooh. Yeah, you get it? Can I change that? Oh yeah, I can, there we go. Chuddle Smiths and Sons. Wait, I'm trying to find like a good, God, these, wait, what's this? No, that's no good. I'm trying to find like a font that looks kind of like. No, that's no good either. God, these fonts are terrible. Okay, that'll do. So we're going to be called Westminster Portfolio Coins. Okay. In fact, let's make it like, there we go. So we're called Westminster Portfolio Coins. Okay. This isn't exactly how I'd want it, but it will do. It will do. Comic Sans. I know, I need to get a new thing. But there's more. We're going to be called Westminster Portfolio Coins of London. I'm not joking. This is the kind of stuff they call themselves, okay? I'm not messing about. You'll see in a sec. You'll see in a sec, okay? This is the kind of stuff they call themselves. Okay, it's not quite what I wanted, but that'll do, okay? That's close enough. Close enough. Okay, right, let's increase the size of this bad boy. Let's whiff this up. 1,500 by 1,000. Let's go. Oh, no, hang on. That isn't quite what I wanted. Can I just crop that out? There we go. Okay, so Westminster Portfolio Coins of London. Okay, yeah, of London, of England, of Great Britain. I mean, we could go on forever with this. Okay, we could get really silly with it, but for now, Westminster Portfolio Coins of London. Okay, so what you need to understand is that these. So this is the grift. Okay. There's 3 different strands of grift that's engaged in with these companies, okay? Most of them engage in all of it. Some of them only engage in some of it, okay? But it's all really bad. And another thing to note as well is that there are some reputable coin dealers that exist that don't engage in this behavior, right? They're more honest. Yes, you pay a premium with them sometimes, but the premiums aren't nearly as much as you see with some of these companies, which we'll get into. And they're far more honest, and they've got a passion for actual coin collecting and numismatics, okay? So this isn't an indictment of every single coin company that exists. But there are specific ones, which have got names that sound very similar to this, okay? That definitely do engage in at least one of these behaviours, which we'll go into, okay? So, what is the first strand of grift? Okay, here we go. Oh, the police are coming. Big coin are onto me, people. Big coin are coming to crack down on me. Okay, so the first grift we've got is what I call... Oh god, the text is all stupid now as well. Let me change it to like Arial or something just basic. Okay, there we go. So we've got the official proof. Oh god. I need to get another system. This is rubbish. Proof coin grift, okay? No, that's no good. This isn't... This isn't working how I'd hoped. Okay, I'm not going to lie. Okay, let's try again. So we've got the official proof coin grift. Okay? And also, one other thing I want to make clear as well is like, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's other... And all of them follow a similar theme. There's other things as well that I could show you, but I just won't have time to show you everything. But yeah, maybe at the end I'll show you as a little treat for the stream. Okay? So, the first thing we've got is the official proof coin grift. Now, what I mean by official proof coin is when I say like an official proof coin, I'm kind of speaking in like simplicity. What I mean is a coin that's been released by like a mint. So there's certain mints around the world that have got quite a lot of prestige and renown, and they're like bullion coins are genuinely attractive to people on the whole, right? So you've got like the South African mint, you've got the Australian mint, the American mint, the Canadian mint, I can't remember the exact names of them, and then in the UK you've got the Royal Mint, okay? So, let me show you this. So here's what happens, here's how it works, okay? Here's how it works. So every year, the Royal Mint will release a sovereign. And they release other coins, but we're going to focus on the sovereign for the purposes of this, okay? So every year, they release a gold bullion sovereign, as I talked about earlier. And as well as that, they release a proof version of the coin, okay? Hey! Oh my god, Supreme! Thanks so much for the raid. Really appreciate it. Hope you're good. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay, so every year... Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So every year, they will release... Here we go. This is it. So this is the next year's edition of the coin isn't out yet, but I'll use it as a comparison just to give you a bit of insight, okay? So it's not an exact like-for-like comparison, it's different years of coins, but it gives you an idea, okay? So you can currently purchase the sovereign, the 2020 gold bullion sovereign, for £339.63, okay? So that's the value of the gold plus like a bit of a premium on top. Okay, so that's for like the minting of the coin, for the fact that they're packaging it, send it to you, all that stuff, right? But that's essentially, you know, you might get a cheaper deal at other dealers, but more or less that's the kind of similar price to what you're going to pay for the coin. Yeah? You with me so far? So you're more or less paying as pretty much as, you can get it closer, but pretty close to what the value of the gold in it is, with a bit of a premium on top, so the Royal Mint can make their money on it, and so on, right? So what the Royal Mint will also do, and bear in mind, this is for next year because they released the Proof Sovereign a few months early, okay? So what you've got here, let me find it quickly. So if we go to Sovereign, okay? So you can currently purchase, and bear in mind how much the Bullion Sovereign was, right? You can currently purchase the 2021 Sovereign, so that's next year's. There's only 7,995 that have been made. And you can purchase that from the Royal Mint directly for £580, okay? So, as you can see, that's a premium on top of just the gold value. And the theory is what you're paying for is the extra quality, the fact it's limited edition, and so on, okay? Now, if you're a collector and you want to buy a proof coin because it looks nice and you want to add it to a collection that you've got, fair enough, yeah? That's your decision to do so. As long as you understand it, you're paying a premium. It's not just the value of the gold. You're paying above and beyond what the actual gold is worth, okay? But as a collectible item, if you like that kind of thing, if that's up your street, fair enough, okay? That's your right as a consumer. As a consumer to go and do that, okay? Now, this is the raw mint. So this is just like a mint that makes the coins, right? They're just trying to make money on their operation, yeah? Looks like waste. Some people would see that. That's fair enough. Look, I wouldn't go and spend money on a proof gold coin. Some people do, you know. Some people spend a lot of money on coins, right? But just to be clear as well, and I want to make this clear now before I go into it later, don't think that the people that we're talking about are all mega rich, like super millionaires or whatever, and so we shouldn't care about them getting taken advantage of, okay? The vast majority of people that I engaged with were working class old people, working class boomers, okay? Who had existed their whole life, struggled and strived under capitalism, have managed to get a bit of money set aside when they're like 60, 70, 80, and they're looking for somewhere to put it to keep it safe, okay? And they've maybe got like $1,000, $2,000, which sounds like a lot of money, but imagine if you've lived for 60, 70, 80 years and you've got $2,000 to show for it at the end. Like, and even if you've got $5,000 or $10,000, it's not like an enormous amount of money considering you spent your whole life saving for it. So it's very, very important that you understand that the people that I was dealing with and the primary customers of these businesses are not mega rich millionaires. Most of them are working class, and you'll see with some of the payment plans how people get targeted, right? Make sense? You with me? Cool. So, where do the coin companies come in? So we've looked at the official mint. They've got the bullion coin, and they've got the proof coin. Okay? Where do the coin companies come in? Well, to demonstrate this, allow me to just show you something quickly. Okay? Allow me to show you something quickly. So, oh, actually, sorry, there's one more thing I want to note as well. Sorry. So, what the raw mint have done, and this has caused quite a lot of frustration amongst collectors, okay? Oh no, the raw mint is a private company. It's not actually the government as such, it's a private company. Listen, what the mints have started doing on some occasions, and the Royal Mint in particular is really bad at this, is on the proof coins in the last couple of years, they've started to add what's called a mint mark. So it's basically this little mark here. Okay, by the 2021, it's like a little crown. And what they do is they essentially just they think every year, oh, what can we commemorate this year? Oh, it's the Queen's 95th birthday. Stick a fucking crown on the coin. Make it a bit more special, right? And it wasn't always the way. They used to commemorate every 5 years or 10 years. There'd be something that comes up that they commemorated. But now with the sovereign, they're doing it every year. They're just finding any old shit to stick on the coin. Oh, wait a sec. It's the Queen's dog's owner's second, third, cousin's anniversary birthday thing. Okay, yeah, just, I don't know. Stick a fucking paw print on the coin. Just stick something on it. Okay, to fuck it, I don't know, whatever you want. So the mint has started to do this, right? And this becomes important too. Now, where do the coin companies come into all this? Where does the grift come in from these other companies? Allow me to explain. So this company is called Westminster. This is one of the companies that I'm referencing that does some of these things, and I'll explain to you what's happening here, okay? Wait. Is this it? Is that it? Yep, this is it. Okay. So, this is the same coin that we were just looking at. So this is the 2021 gold proof sovereign. So on here, you'll notice that it's £580. But with Westminster, it's £625. Yeah, boycott. You're right. These names are specifically chosen to make it sound like they're affiliated with the government in some way. It's despicable. Anyway, so you'll see they're charging a bit more for it, which is intriguing. Okay. Don't worry. We'll explain that in a little bit, okay? But let me break this down for you because there's actually quite a lot going on here that you might not notice on the first glance. So let's go over this, okay? So the first thing to note, and this plays into what I was saying earlier about some of these people being kind of desperate, okay? You can pay monthly for this coin. £62.50 as the down payment. And I don't know... Yeah, look, 9 interest-free payments are £62.50. So you can pay for this coin over 10 months. What does that tell you about the kind of customer that they maybe are hoping to hook in with this? Interesting. Intriguing. Right? So that's the first point. Right? So the coin companies will offer installments on it, right? Now, the second aspect you need to understand in terms of this is the following. And this again becomes really important as we go on, okay? So companies such as Westminster and the other companies, and also our company, don't forget, Westminster Portfolio Coins, okay? Here's what happens. So, you might get a bit ahead of me here, but stick with me. So, they will go ahead, okay, and they will purchase large allocations of official mint coins, yeah? You might see where this is going. Maybe not. Depends what your thought process is. But look, so let's take it one step at a time. So what they will do is, so our company, Westminster Portfolio Coins of London, they will approach the mint and they will say, okay, so we see you've got 7,995 of these sovereign coins, right? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll purchase 1,000 of these. And we'll purchase them for, I don't know, 400 quid. Right? 400, 350, 400 quid. Dependent on the value of gold and stuff like that, right? So they'll buy 1,000. And because they're buying in bulk, obviously they've got the purchasing power to get a discount. Okay? Sorry, I need to change the stream title. So they've got the purchasing power to say, hey, I'll buy 1,000 at £400 off you, right? So our company now, okay, Westminster Portfolio Coins has got 400 of these. I've got 1,000 of these at £400 each. So on our website, we go and we say, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll charge £600. So it's only £20 more than what the Royal Mint is doing them for. But we offer you the peace of mind of being able to split the payment over 10 months or whatever it is, however long you want to split it over, okay? So that gives you peace of mind. You don't have to pay it all straight away, nice and easy, and it's spread out for you, right? So that's one way that you justify the increased price. Now, I'll come back to that in a second. That becomes important later. But just to sort of touch on how our company... So now we've purchased all these coins. We've got 1,000 of these proof sovereigns. We've spent £400 on each of them, okay? Now we need to sell them. Well, how do we do that? I'll tell you how. I'll tell you exactly how. So what will happen is, this advert's from 2019, or 2017, sorry, but it gives you an insight, gives you an idea, okay? So this is Harrington and Byrne. This is like a company that does this stuff. What they will do is they'll put an advert out in the paper, yours for only £249. So what they're doing is they're advertising, going back to what we spoke about earlier, the bullion version of the coin. So this is the investment version of the coin, right? And what this does is it touches on both the investment aspect, so people that want to make an investment, yeah, And further to that, it's also touching on the collectability aspect. So in 2017, there was a special mint mark, not just on the proof coin, but on the normal coin as well. So they put that all in the advert to sort of pique the interest of the collectible side as well as the investment side, right? So, listen up. Let's say a customer calls in, okay, Mr. Jones. Let's say Mr. Jones picks up the advert in the paper and he sees this, okay? Now, there's lots of different types of customers that call in. Some are calling in for an investment and just want to spend a bunch of money on gold. Other people just want something collectible or something like that, right? But one of the most kind of common type of customer that would call in, okay, would be someone who's like, say, a granddad. And like I said earlier, they've put a bit of money aside. They've got maybe $1,000 or $2,000 or less or more to spend. And they just want to put that aside to pass down to their family, right? So they want to pass it down like an inheritance. That was one of the most common types of customers that you would get, okay? So we're gonna think about that type of customer. So the customer that's calling in is Mr. Jones. He's got $1,000 to spend. He's thinking about buying 4 of these sovereigns. And he wants to put them aside as in like an inheritance for his kids when he passes away, okay? Now, here's where the salespeople come in and the first real hardcore stage of the grift comes in, okay? So Mr. Jones calls you up. Oh, hello, Mr. Jones. In fact, he'd call you up or he'd send in this slip. So you'd have a slip with Mr. Jones's number on. So you'd call him up or he'd call you and you say, hello, Mr. Jones, it's Chud here from, what's the name of our company again? It's Chud here from the Westminster Portfolio Coins of London. I'm calling about your recent inquiry into these sovereigns that you made in the paper. Can I just confirm your details, please? You confirm the details, right? And then what you do is essentially get this guy by whatever means you can, as long as you don't break the rules and don't break the law, which we'll get into. Whatever means you can, get him onto a proof coin. Because here's the thing, quite often with these coins here, the company is selling them as a loss leader. Do people know what I mean when I say loss leader? So a loss leader is a product that a company sells in order to get people into the door so that they can be sold other items. So what loss leader essentially means is that they're selling this at a loss to themselves or maybe just at cost price, right? So it could be that they've actually paid £249 or less. They could have paid £240 or £230 a coin. Sorry, £260, £270 a coin. So they're actually selling it for less than they've purchased it for because what they're relying on is the sales team to speak them into buying a more expensive proof coin. So remember, on the first day of the release, say, we're offering this in the paper for £249 and we've got a proof coin that we can offer for around £600, say, yeah? So what does that process look like? So first of all, what the salesperson has to do is they have to explain about what proof coins are. So you have this little script that you use or you come up with or you think of and you say, right? So you essentially talk about, first of all, how proof coins are better quality, okay? And then the next stage to the grift is very, very clever. Deviously, horrifically clever, but very clever. Because here's the thing. And we'll come back to this later as well. This isn't a coin collectible companies are not a regulated financial service or anything like that. If you go and buy a mortgage or you go and make an actual investment, right? There's an organisation called the Financial Conduct Authority which oversees financial transactions and stuff like that. And there's regulations in place. And you have to adhere to them and stuff like that. Because this isn't an investment, this is like a consumer product, right? This is a collectible coin that you're going to be selling them. And although it sort of hints to it in here, we're not selling it as an investment per se. We're not like an investment broker or something like that, right? So what you do is, here's the challenge. You have got to convince Mr. Jones, looking to put some money aside for his family, you have got to convince him that he's better off buying the proof coin, right? You've got to make him think that it's going to be a better investment and it's going to be worth more, but you're not allowed to call it an investment. You're not allowed to explicitly say the proof coin is a better investment for you. It's likely to increase in value. There's certain things and words and phrases you've got to avoid. And the reason for that is because obviously these companies don't want to be regulated. If like the Financial Conduct Authority came in and started regulating these coin collection companies, right? It would be game over. They would have to change significantly. So they've carved out quite a good little niche for themselves where they haven't got that much oversight, except for like consumer oversight that you get on all consumer type products, which we'll get to later. But basically they've carved this niche where they're not quite covered by the financial regulations, but they can sort of hint at stuff and maybe make it sound like it's going to increase in value without doing so, right? You can't use the term futures. Let me give you an example of how fluid it was. So when I first started at this company, right, you used to be able to use the phrase future potential, okay? So you could say this coin has got a great future potential, okay? Now, that was fine for a little while. Over the course of time, the legal team basically said, we've reviewed this. We're concerned that the term future potential is too close to investment, so you're not allowed to use it as salespeople anymore. You've got to use something else. And as you can imagine, the sales team was not happy. The sales team wasn't happy. So Checker makes a good point. So Checker asks, can you talk about the previous increases of certain proof coins historically? There must be historic examples of dramatic increases in value. So this is where it starts to come into the grift on the part of the salesperson, okay? And bear in mind, look, I'm not happy with like what I did and the conduct I engaged in while I worked for this company, okay? I look back on it and I'm ashamed with what I did whilst I was there, okay? But like, it is what it is. Unfortunately, I did it at the time. If I could turn back time, I would never have worked there. But I did. I did what I had to do to earn a living. But this is where the salespeople, like the pitch comes in, okay? So the first thing that you would hit them with, and basically you would have different sort of avenues. You would have different sort of avenues that you would go down to try and convince them, dependent on what their needs were, okay? So for example, there's some people that were just collectors. They were quite rare, like I say, and you could convince them sometimes fairly easily to like the proof stuff. And on the other side of that, there were people that were like the hardcore investors and were just interested in the gold value, so it was difficult to speak them into it. But Mr. Jones, looking to put some money away for like his family, that person is primed. They're like putty in your hands, right? Because you can tap into the emotional stuff. You can essentially manipulate them. You can manipulate them emotionally to do what you want to do, which is to buy the proof coin, okay? So you use whatever was at your disposal. So Checker, that's one good example of the kind of thing that would be utilized, right? So you would say, well, the thing is with the proof coin is that if you look at past proof coins, you can see what happens with them versus these bullion coins. So for example, the bullion coin at this time last year was £279. Because the value of gold is decreased, that same coin is only selling now with us for £249, right? However, this coin here from last year, when it first came out, was the same price as this coin, £600. But now we are retailing that coin for £1,200. So its retail value has increased double in the last year. I'm kind of exposing another part of the grift, which I don't want to go into just yet, but we'll get to that. Anyway, so essentially what you were doing, and it starts to intertwine, and you'll see in a sec, but you're not talking about like what the real value of something is in terms of like, you bought some, obviously gold, you can track how much it is and how much it's worth and the flow and ups and downs and stuff like that. But what you're kind of highlighting is like, well, with these proof coins, they're going to be worth as much as what someone is willing to pay for it. And you're using the term retail value, which, when I was there at least, you were allowed to use. Retail value is increased. Right? So that's the sort of thing you would do. Essentially, you would say whatever you could within the rules to denigrate the idea of buying gold and promote the idea of buying proof. Okay? That was the whole thing. Whatever tool you had at your disposal that wasn't breaking the rules, you would say it to get it done. You tap into their family. If they said no, you'd start putting pressure on them. You do fear of missing out. Oh, there's only so many of these left, you know? We've only got so many in the vault currently. They could be gone. The next batch that comes in might be more expensive. We'll get to that in a sec. You know? Basically, any tool at your disposal you would utilise. Okay? So, is everyone with me so far? Is everyone understanding the grift? So you'd purchase large allocation of official mint coins. Okay? And then, further from that, so you would advertise the bullion. Advertise the bullion at great price. When someone calls in, then pressure sell proof. But the trick is, you'd be expected to do it in a way so you're not really pressuring them. But you know, it was very pressured. It was very pressured. You know, you would be expected. You would be expected. Yeah, Spitfire. It's called upselling in inverted commas. That's what it's called in the industry. It's called upselling, right? But really, you know, you want that. Listen, you want that old fucker to buy the coin, because if they buy the bullion, you don't get paid bonus on that, and you get shit off your boss if you fuck it up a lot. If you don't, you know, if you have a day without selling coins, you get shit off your boss. You don't get a bonus. You know, we'll get into the environment of it later, but it's very toxic, very hardcore. You know, typical kind of sales office type stuff. Like, you know, like Boiler Room or Glengarry Glen Ross, always be closing. Coffee is for closers only. That kind of thing. It's that sort of environment, yeah? Yeah, it's like you're doing them a favour too. Yeah, I'm doing you a favour. Anyway, look. So that's just that's the first aspect of that. It goes on, however. It goes on. It goes on, okay? Let me just... It goes on. Okay. So, you purchase large allocation of the coins, and then you pressure sell, and then what you do is you start pressure selling to people that call in. Now here's where it gets really clever. Here's how it gets really clever, okay? This is where it really starts to get... Ooh, this is where it starts to get real grifty. So I mentioned earlier about like the retail value of coins going up, right? So here's what happens. So the Royal Mint are still selling this. They've got 8,000. They've sold some to the companies, like I said, okay? They've sold some to like companies and whatnot, and they've got some they're selling to consumers directly. Let me ask you a question. When the Royal Mint directly sell out of this coin, what do you think happens? So they've got no more coins left to offer consumers. What do you think happens then? Yeah, that's it, you got it. This is where it starts to get really nasty. This is where it starts to get really, really, really nasty. So, these companies, and our company now as well, Westminster portfolio of coins, okay? Let's say we've sold, out of our 1,000, right? We've sold 300 at £600. But we then find out that the Royal Mint has sold out and they can't offer any to consumers anymore. So they're no longer able to offer the coin for £580. So what do? Line go up, stonks. So we, at Westminster Portfolio Coins, turn up the heat. We start to turn the heat up, okay? So, as coins sell out at Mint, we start to turn up the heat, aka the price, okay? So this coin that we're selling for now £600, Raw Mint sells out, another 100 on straight away, 700 quid, bang. As simple as that. As simple as that. As soon as the coin's out of the mint, £100 goes on the price straight away. Okay. And then as time goes on, it goes higher and higher. So it goes like, in some cases, a coin that originally was sold for 580 quid from the mint, our company, Westminster Portfolio Coins, as little as 6 months later, 8 months later, could potentially be selling it for double that. Round about double, if not a bit more in some cases. So a coin that was originally available for £580 could easily be being sold for £1,200. Right? Now there's 2 points to that. The first point is that there hasn't been. It's obviously like it's similar to the ticket thing. It's like an artificial thing, right? Because the companies have gone and bought thousands of these coins. They own thousands of these coins from the mint collectively, right? They've bought a bunch of this allocation. So they've taken coins out of the availability for consumers for their own needs, and now they're putting the price up. So they've artificially created this, yeah? And that's the other thing, Zap. I mentioned it earlier. I touched on it, right? So I said that you'll pressure sell people to call in. Here's the beauty of the grift. This action here, which is, in my opinion, incredibly unethical, essentially just putting the price up after creating an artificial, what's the word? Like, lack. What's the word? Artificial, what's the word I'm thinking of? Scarcity. Yes, yeah. So our company, Westminster Portfolio Coins, have created an artificial scarcity. We're then capitalising on that by putting the price up. But then do you know what we're doing? We're using this to convince people to buy the coin. It's shocking. So like we'll say, okay, so the reason you want to buy the proof coin is if you look at last year's proof coin, right? It started out at £600. We now retail that coin for £1,199. Its retail value has doubled. We've completely, out of just the desire to make more money, artificially inflated that price ourselves. We just put the price up. You go on the website. The director goes on, 600, 1,200, bang, there we go, done. There's nothing tangible that's happened that really justifies that increase in price. It's literally the companies just artificially creating scarcity and putting the price up. And then we're using it as a point to sell to the customers as to why they should buy it. Do you see how circular this is? And how grifty this is? It's shocking. It's diabolical. It's absolutely diabolical. It's sold out from the Royal Mint. Here's what you'd have to. Here's what you would say if you were being honest. Okay, it's sold out at the Royal Mint because we bought thousands of them. Now, not only are we putting the price up so you have to pay more, but we're going to use that price increase to justify why people should buy it in the future. We're basically ripping you off. What do you think, Mr. Customer? Hey? How about that? What do you reckon? And here's the thing as well, okay? Here's the thing. And we'll get into this with the other coins too. But these proof coins that people are buying, even at the price at the Royal Mint, if someone's looking to leave a nest egg in an investment, broadly speaking, this isn't a good way to do it. When you're buying a gold coin and you're paying that much of a premium over the gold price, you are going to have to expect the coin to do magic things for it to be sold for more in the future. And the thing is, any of these coins we're talking about, will, with like a gold bullion coin, right? Its value is rooted in the gold. So you can always rely on that. You can always rely on the intrinsic value of gold. Again, placed on it by society, but broadly speaking, that's how it works. You rely on the intrinsic value of gold. With these, you're essentially relying on the idea that people in the future will be willing to pay premiums for these coins. And there are some coins, don't forget, like I said, there are some coins, because of their rarity, that are worth a lot of money. But there's 8,000 of these. And certainly, like, buying it at this price maybe is a punt. But if you want to do it for that. But I wouldn't advise it, but like maybe. But when you're spending twice what it's retailed for originally, like eye-watering markups, forget about it. You're just getting ripped off. You're just getting ripped off. It is, yeah, it's scalping. It's basically like a version of scalping. But because there's no regulation, and because no one really talks about this ever, there's never any focus paid on it. No one ever thinks about this. But this is a massive grift. This is a massive thing. Yeah? How much would the salesperson get from selling one of these? Okay, so you get your basic salary, which I don't know what everyone's basic salary is, and obviously the bonus scales are different, right? But depending on how much you'd sold in a given month, you would get paid between, I think, maybe 2 to 5% of the value of the coin is what you'd get paid. So, and that's scaled based on how much you've sold, right? The company's raking the rest in. just raking it in. Just like this. Slurping it up. So anyway, that is the first part of the... We're only at the first part. Okay, so I just want to ask a question to chat. What do you think so far? What do you think so far of this? Okay? We're not even at the worst of it yet, in my opinion. It gets a lot worse than this, okay? It is disgusting, yeah. And just to remind everyone, this isn't the case of like, oh, this is just all rich people buying these. I'll remind you again, the vast majority of people you speak to doing this are working class boomers who have managed to save, and I use that term affectionately in this case, who have managed to save and put aside a little bit of money. I mean, Mr. Jones ain't rich. He just wants to set aside a little nest egg. He wants to set aside a little nest egg, okay? So, that's part one.